Hello, and welcome all to the second episode of Pardon the Int, where today it is once again me, Billy, and Bully, but we are joined by a special guest, Mr. Risen Travis. Go ahead and say hello, Travis.
Hello.
And today we have a pretty interesting show for you, hopefully. We're going to get to know Travis. For those of you that don't know Travis, we'll talk a little bit about some of the leagues that he has over there. We'll talk about BOL Gold playoffs, and they've been quite the banger of three seeds. We'll talk a little bit about MSI and the future of LCS and some of these other regions. And just maybe we'll talk about the death of Morgana jungle. Praise the Lord, that champion is no longer viable. I hate Morg with a passion. But to start off, we're gonna just start with Travis. Can you why don't you give a little bit of a background about yourself for the people that don't know you? How long have you been around the scene?
Um, well, I've been around the scene, man, I don't even know, probably since like 2015. Um, because I played back whenever House Party 5v5 was a thing. Probably nobody listening to this will even remember House Party 5v5, but it was like the first like 5v5 league. Like the precursor of all these things we have today was pretty much House Party. So I played back with them and then started up Risen in March of 2017 and have been going strong with that ever since.
And Captain Flowers casted in House Party 5v5.
Did he
He
really?
did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
He
wow.
That's
made
where he
his
got his
mark there.
start.
Yeah, that's where he got to start. Like, he was an amateur, league,
Yeah.
wonder.
House Party 5v5. That's yeah, I've never heard of that before, and I've been around. I thought I'd been around a while. But so you started Risen in 2017?
Yeah.
Man, it's really been 4 full years, huh?
Yeah, I think it's the specific date, March 17th, 2017. I remember it. But
I
yeah.
can imagine you would. So you were the owner of Risen, like the founder.
He is the
Yes,
owner.
How
the
did
owner.
how did you decide that that was what you were gonna do when you did it?
Um, so I was about to graduate from school, from college, and we had done this thing with our League of Legends club where we played like a league, like exactly like what we have in the amateur scene today, but for the like college students instead. And so when I was about to graduate, I knew that this was something I wanted to keep doing, and I just started one up because so when I did it for my college, before I came along for the club, the League of Legends club, it wasn't very good. And then I kind of hopped in and revamped the whole thing, and that led to me kind of having uh, this faith. Like I knew I could accomplish it, so like why not? I suppose was my take on it.
Yeah, it was a little easier back then too, because there wasn't as many leagues, right?
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
d- I love that's the attitude. I don't think I wish we could do that now. You know, there's a lot of leagues though, so for people can't just be like, I want to make a brand new league, and then
yeah. I definitely got in at the right time. There
yeah, for
was
sure.
Ascension and Compete League, and that was about it at the time. Uh, I think even then, I think Ascension was very young at the time. Maybe they had only existed for like a single season or split before that. And yeah, any leagues that start up these days, they don't have that luxury of being like the only one because there are quite a few now.
Yeah, it's a much more of a competitive market for leagues because almost every day is basically taken up by a league. So no matter what day you pick, you're competing with somebody.
Dude, shout out to Feathers. He competes in all of them.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
plays like what 7 days a week.
Dude, okay, so if, for example, if he's like, a family gathering and like his family wants him to come, he's like, let me check my schedule. Let's see, I have Risen on this day, BOL on this day, ZG on this day. I could fit you at 3 a.m. on a Friday. See what happens.
Man, and he's the basically top admin of the league too while playing in all these. What was your the journey like, Travis? Like in terms of owning Risen, from start to like now? Because obviously when you guys, you expand, you didn't start with like 5 leagues, did you? Like
No,
5 different divisions?
we had two in the very beginning. It was just uh, silver and gold, and then plat and diamond, actually, which isn't the typical cutoff you would see these days. Because leagues have since learned that they're better make cutoffs. But yeah, we started out with those two leagues. It was literally just me for the first season running it. And then second season, we picked up a couple of admins, I believe. Joe and Brett were the first two. And then added a new league, Champions League, which was uncapped. And ever since then, we've kind of had that core three of, well, we shifted the Rampage cutoff to be golden below, and then, well, actually, that was the same cutoff. I don't know what I'm talking about, but we have since introduced Unstoppable, which is just plat, and then Dominate, which is typically low diamonds and up. So yeah, we started off with basically 100 players between two leagues because we had 5-man rosters back in the day, and then now we have, dude, I don't even know how many players we have in one season. It's like it's
Yeah,
multiple
with
hundreds.
how big Premade is by itself, or Rampage,
There
I
were
mean.
just there were 48 Rampage teams for pre-made
Yeah,
just this season.
is 40
Yeah.
just the season, or is that with play-ins too?
That was without
That's
play.
after,
That
that
was
was
just-
after
yeah,
That was
play-ins.
after
Yeah,
play-in.
yeah. You guys have a lot of teams in pre-made Rampage.
And then you have to factor in that most of these teams will actually have rosters of, let's average it out to 7 players each.
Yeah, with roster
You guys
builds throughout
required,
the
yeah, you
season.
guys did require like
you guys
get that
required 7.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you guys took that away though for this season.
I think figuring in an average of 7 per roster is probably about right for. Yeah, so you do 7 times 40. That's 280 players in Rampage alone.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. Wait, so you were running it by yourself the first split? You with
Yeah.
100 players, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Seemed to have been
I'm
somewhat of
not
a
saying it was
success.
good. It was not good. The start was rough. I don't know how we got past the first couple of seasons, if I'm being honest, because
So say sounds like it was a success.
I gave it my best effort. I really did, but like one person can only accomplish so much. And yeah, so it was like actually it was a bit rough, and then once I got helping, it picked up a lot from there.
I would
So-
say. Yep, Billy, go ahead.
So, quick question: so like when Risen first started, I know that you have like the whole open and pre-made thing now. Did it start out as just like an open league, or was it like set up for the full 5-man teams coming in originally?
It was both. Oh my goodness, can I remember? I think it was both. So you could either sign up as a full pre-made or just sign up as an individual.
And then you guys would match them with the team. Okay, that's
You guys, bro, you
Okay.
mean he would match them with the team?
No, it was that way. It was that way actually. It was 100% both.
Poor
Okay.
Travis, all
because-
that work.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I made the teams, I set the schedule, the time, made the rules, wrote the rule sheets and all that.
That's some dedication, man.
It
That
was
really.
a lot of work.
I mean, I would say it was a success because now you guys are tier 2 partners with Riot for their tier 2 tournaments.
Yeah, we are.
What's that like? How does this work? You know, if you're able to talk about it, I don't know. I know some Riot things have,
Yeah.
can't talk about all of it.
So, yeah, we basically just work with Riot. Working with Riot in this case is mostly passing off players for like toxicity checks and behavior checks and checking out rosters, checking out or just making sure that our formats work for the PG events and getting feedback from them on formats, adjusting rules. Well, the rules we don't really have to mess around with anymore because the PG this time around has a unified rule set,
Yeah,
which is
thank God.
really handy. Thank God. But it's actually we have to work with Riot pretty closely. I think we probably send at least an email, maybe two every day, just discussing the plans for the split and whatnot. And what's interesting with this upcoming split of PG is that we're gonna have a Spanish broadcast.
Oh wow.
So that was cool. I don't know much about that personally because Joe set that up, but I think it's really, really cool that we have a Spanish broadcast coming for it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I think part of that, I don't know how much you know about the Brazil like scene, like CBLOL, but they're one of like the fastest growing regions in terms of like Riot Games. Like there's regions, they're one of the fastest growing for viewers. They hit
Mhm.
so many viewers. So I'm sure that plays a part in it, uh trying to reach out even more to the that community.
Yeah.
Get out.
Honestly, I don't think the numbers really have much to do with it. It's more I guess we're not expecting high numbers, but we're going to evaluate kind of like what the Spanish speaking
Community.
community what their interest level is in North American League of Legends. So it's not like we're looking for huge numbers
Or
from
like a
the
test run.
Spanish broadcast. Yeah, it's kind of probing, and honestly, it's also just something nice to do for those that would enjoy us doing it. So if we have the power to do it, even if it only gets like 100 viewers or something, it's worth it for those 100 viewers.
Oh, for sure. Especially just how many Spanish speakers there are in America.
Sure.
It's
Uh,
definitely nice for accessibility.
yeah,
Who knows how many people it could actually bring into the scene?
yep, that's true. Who knows how many people you'll bring into the scene, man? Maybe you'll have an entire Spanish league of your own, Travis.
Well, I would need to learn the language for that.
Yeah.
Travis, I
Well,
actually
no
have a
need to
question.
separate them.
So, you've done Risen for quite a long time. Have you ever thought about like, applying for an actual esports job? I'm not saying Riot, I'm saying like, tournament organization type jobs like with massive esports companies or anything like that?
Uh, sure. Like I've always thought about it. I think it would be it, it would be fun. Like it's up my alley, right? Like obviously I enjoy doing this. Uh, I don't really know why I haven't applied for other things yet. Honestly, probably because of Risen. I know that if I were to apply to some other tournament organizer or one of the big names, I would have to leave Risen behind.
Mhm. It's kind of like your baby. You don't want to like basically leave it, right?
Well, if I did leave, I would want to make sure that it was left in good hands beforehand.
I mean, the
So
admins that you have right now, they're all very solid people, right? They're
oh
very
yeah.
trustworthy. They've been there for a long time. So I'm guessing, I don't know how interactive you were with Risen for the past couple splits, but it seems like everyone knows their role. Everyone can do everything basically at this point, right?
Yeah, I would say that like from an administration perspective, Risen more or less runs itself at this point because of the team. Uh okay, well, I guess not runs itself, but the team members are extremely competent. Like everyone on the admin team is knows what they're doing at this point. So Risen is a well-oiled machine. So it would be in good hands with these people. If I were to disappear like at this exact moment and not be running Risen anymore, I would be very confident in the team to be able to handle things.
Solid, solid.
Yeah, you have some great people over there. I gotta. What is one of your favorite things about like the league community, or like amateur scene that you've been a part of or experienced since you've been around since the dawn of time over here.
The okay, so my favorite thing is when how can I describe this? You know that teams will make their own discords, right? And then form their own miniature communities. And then from these miniature communities that are kind of like suburbs, so to speak, of these leagues, you get lifelong, like lasting, very deep friendships that end up in some cases people end up meeting in person and hanging out, or like maybe people even form a relationship with somebody that they met through one of these communities. I think that's the most fun part of it for me. Like, obviously, I'm in this call with you three, and you three are some of my good friends who I have met through these communities. To me, that's why Risen exists, is for stuff like this.
Definitely.
Billy's,
I feel
Billy's a
like
good friend.
Billy's gonna cry, man.
Billy's gonna cry.
Don't cry, Billy. Don't cry.
I'm not crying. You are.
You about to say
Uh,
something, Billy?
I mean, I feel like this is. I feel like that's kind of just the core thing. Like you find the group of like-minded people you that end up sticking around for a while. Like obviously, with how crazy this past year has been, like obviously stuff like that is really invaluable, and I think the amateur scene can really help foster stuff like that grow. I'm definitely happy to have met people like you, Bully, you, Travis, you, Jake. It's been, it's definitely a nice way to find new friends and everything like that.
Hey guys, isn't Worlds coming to NA next year? You know, you
Oh,
all see you
True.
all
oh
there.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
There
No,
you go.
I think
this
Traxton's going.
this is happening 100%. Like
I'm pretty
I'm
sure
I'm making it happen.
we're all going to that.
Yeah.
I think most of the people I know in the
You
League
can't pay me
community.
enough to meet Billy IRL.
I think
Why
I
do you
think
like this,
most of the
Bully?
people I know in the League community are going to that. Like, I'm pretty sure I could show up with a posse of like 500 people.
Dude, so many
Mhm.
people be
That
like,
would
yeah,
be
I'm
awesome.
definitely going. Then like
The
when it actually
prices come
happens,
out.
you'll be like,
Yeah,
nah.
the prices come
come
out. They
out,
have to
it's
they have
just
to book a hotel, a flight.
Mhm.
Like, then it kind of dissuades more people. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
I'm literally saving up.
yeah.
Already.
Actually save.
Mhm.
Like, I'm definitely gonna be there unless like it's impossible to find like a hotel. Like, they're just all booked.
Oh, just book it
Mhm.
right now, honestly.
Well, yeah, I haven't looked at where the site is yet. Cause have they released the actual site? Like, is
No,
it
they have.
Staples
I don't think
Center?
they've.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
they've
they've
picked a
really announced
location yet.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna. It's gonna be in LA, 100%.
we don't even know we only know the Chinese one for the finals this year. I don't even think we know where they're doing play-ins and group stage and all that yet.
I don't think so.
If I recall correctly, they just released the final one, and I'm not even gonna try to say the name because it's a Chinese name. So, the one thing I've learned my limitations on is I can't pronounce names.
Dude, has any other league or has any league became a Twitch partner so far?
I don't
question.
think so. Maybe Challengers Uprising.
Let's check.
Because I
Maybe
used to.
Upsurge.
Well, they just changed to Unified, but yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
know.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm never gonna remember that, man. It's always gonna be Upsurge.
No, Challenge Uprising isn't.
I mean,
I
you have to
never understood. Like
you have to stream
that's
a
such a
certain amount a
big.
week.
It's such a big increase. Like if they're able to, it might be because they don't stream enough.
Upsurge or Unified now might just because they stream like Rainbow Six and Rocket League and like they basically stream I think like 5 days a week, right? When they're like
But
in
they have
season.
multiple channels for that, right? I feel like they
They
have
do
like
have
3 to
multiple
4 Twitch channels.
They do. But like their main one is pretty much always,
That's fair.
you know, there's always something
Yeah.
on the main one. It seems like at least 5 days a week. But
It.
I don't
It's
know if it's
like
enough.
so a big thing about like those leagues, right? They get a ton of viewers, but just because of the consistency, they don't stream that much, might
Yeah.
deter their application. Like the Twitch, just be like, okay, they only streamed like 6 times in the last like 4 months.
So
So
say that's something. I guess that's like a decent question we could just like ask. Is like, do you think there should be something like in Twitch? Like Twitch should have a section specifically for leagues that can so they can become partners, where like they don't have to stream as much, with to be a Twitch partner.
no,
Like a
because
different
I
thing.
feel like that could be abused.
Abused.
It's either abused, like they specifically have this reason. Of course, the cut for Twitch, like for example, for a sub, for a paid sub, for just an affiliate, you the actual stream or the people they get $2.19. So every time someone subs to BOL, we get $2.19. If it's Prime, then it's $2.49, which is crazy because they take half and then they take the transaction fee or some crap like that. So if you become a partner, it goes to 60/40, which is still a huge upgrade because now you're at least making back, 50 more cents per sub.
That adds up.
It does
It does
add
add up.
Mhm.
50 cents probably doesn't seem like a lot to the people listening, but
I
Is-
mean, when you get gifted 100 subs out of nowhere, you know, like we did
exactly.
that one time, and then you take 50 cents times 100, you know.
Yeah, it's actually insane. Um, Travis, how's you don't have to give like specific numbers. Is Risen operating at a loss, or like are they just breaking even?
Well, it depends. Do you want to throw in PG or do you want to just
It's everything.
with everything? It's definitely at a loss. Yeah, I
Mhm.
definitely have to fork out money.
So basically, without PG, you are basically even.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty solid.
Uh,
Post a ride event, we lose money. Feels bad.
Yeah.
yeah. That's because of the costs associated with
Yeah.
running an event of that caliber.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
It's one
I
of those
think-
things you have to make a decision on if you think it's worth it or not, and especially for someone like you, where your stated goal is what it is, it's definitely worth it for Risen.
Funny thing is, didn't Riot say they'll like help like these leagues find sponsors if they need to?
Yes.
And did that ever happen?
For the first PG, that did not really happen, at least not in our case. I can't speak for the other tier 2 providers, but not really for us. We'll say things are a bit different this time around. At least as far as I can tell. From
Risen sponsored by Toyota. Like damn one
I mean,
Kia.
it makes
Risen
sense.
Toyota.
It was something new they were trying out, so you know, Riot had I wouldn't say they hired new people, but like people for the first time were working a job where they had to reach out to amateur leagues and like actually help them. So
Yeah, they actually did hire
Mhm.
brand new person.
yeah. So it's basically brand new jobs got created for this, so it makes sense there's like learning bumps through Riot. Just like I'm sure tournament providers had some learning curves of your own in these tier 2 tournaments.
Oh, for sure.
Wait,
The
what,
whole
I was gonna say, what were some of the ones you guys had?
some of the I'm sorry, some
The
of the
learning
voting?
curves. Like learning
Oh,
bumps.
I oh, I would say probably the biggest learning curve is figuring out how the teams want to do things, or like what formats that the teams themselves that will be participating in the event like. I know in terms of overall, teams are very unhappy with how many events were being run. That's been fixed this time around, but that was like the main thing that people wanted to change for this proving ground.
Yeah. They made it harder to become actually tournament organizer because of they reduced the number from 3 to 1 for tier 1s.
Yep.
Hmm.
There are less events running this time around. Another learning curve that we had to deal with was, particularly last season being the first provider, we didn't really have the structure set up to go on, or we didn't know if we should go on the Academy channel or if we should stream to the Risen channel. We ultimately went with the Risen channel when we probably should have went with the Academy channel, and that will be different this time around as well. We should be streaming mainly to the Academy channel, I believe.
Yeah, so actually, I have a question about that. So I bet one of the big reasons why you chose the Risen channel is because of the potential monetary gain that you have
Mhm.
streaming to Risen to gain those, you know, ad revenue, things like that, to offset some of the costs for
Mhm.
running the tournament. So what made you choose the Academy? Is it just because you reach out to more people and basically get your name out, more of a marketing thing? It's like, instead of, trying to get back some money for the tournament, you're just opting to use that time, just using it as like a sunk cost and taking the time to actually have it as like a marketing tactic.
Yeah, it definitely has to do with outreach. On the Risen channel, we just don't have the ability to reach out to as many viewers as the Academy channel does. So that's ultimately what it comes down to. Even if we get less of or we don't, yeah, even if we get less of the cut from running streams on the Academy channel, it it's still, even if it costs us more, or in this case, if it costs me more out of pocket, I think it's still fine just because of getting the event out to more people.
Mhm.
Like there's value at the end of the day. The viewership number isn't everything. You want to have a quality event regardless of how many viewers you have. But I think there's value in reaching an extra 500 to 1,000 people, just because those are 500 to 1,000 people that would not have originally uh, even probably known about what amateur League of Legends is. So it benefits the scene as a whole.
Yep. And you definitely get more eyes on you for like sponsorship wise, things like that. Something that'll just help in the long run.
Especially when part of the reason for Proving Grounds was to make the amateur scene like better or more well known. So
Mhm.
by making Proving Ground events be seen to more people, it also certainly furthers that goal.
Yes, and Proving Grounds is a huge improvement over Scouting Grounds.
Agree.
So
Oh yeah.
so the first Proving Grounds was a huge improvement over the Scouting Grounds, and then the second Proving Grounds is an improvement over the first Proving Grounds. So like I see this trend of improvement continuing into the future, and
I
so viewership is just going to keep going up, I think.
Yeah, I personally expect. I actually think there's going to be. I feel like there's going to be a lot more viewership this time around, and part of that is because I think. I mean, I've been hearing from a lot of people. There's a lot more excitement after watching like the amateur teams just beat up on the academy teams, and
Hmm.
that like end of Proving Grounds one like tournament thing.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing like all these academy teams lose, it certainly caused a little bit more excitement. Uh, I'll never forget the Team Liquid tweet where the academy team was like, "We'll show these amateur teams what's up," and then they got 2-0'd.
What what was the highest viewer count of all the Proving Ground tournaments
Oh
last season, or last like split?
I want to say it was like 2,500.
yeah,
I could be completely wrong.
I don't think it got. I know it didn't get over like 5,000, but I yeah 2,500 sounds right. Cause I watched a lot of Proving Ground stuff and even like the finals I think was only like 20, 25, 24. I don't, do you remember watching the finals?
Yes, but I
I
don't remember the viewership on it.
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't
I
really.
can't remember.
I didn't really
Like
look.
when I was watching Cup, I believe it's their last day of their like
Group
round
stage.
robin for today. Yeah, it. I think even on the Academy channel, it was like 1.2K. I think for
Yeah.
like for the like last day of group stage. So I think the numbers are definitely going up for
Yeah.
sure. But
Compared to this point in the last PG, this PG, I tuned in earlier just before this podcast started. I think it's TSMA versus EG Prodigies that was just happening, and it was at 1,200 viewers in the post game interview. So
Nice.
that's definitely an improvement.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I don't know if it'll be possible, but I'd love it if we could reach like EU Masters numbers and for Academy. I don't think it'll be possible on like the Academy stream for Proving Ground stuff because I don't know if you guys know EU Masters is huge in Europe.
It
Um,
is.
Mhm.
because all the countries coming in, so I'm pretty sure they pull like tens of thousands. Like I'm pretty
Mhm.
positive I've seen like 60K watching EU
Yeah,
Masters.
I think it's still relatively unknown, which is why you don't pull in a lot of viewers. Like
Yeah.
people, if they knew if they knew by heart what the schedule is, like if they put it on the client or something like that, I feel like it
Ooh,
would
put it on the
blow up.
client. That's an
Yeah.
interesting idea, especially because Riot's actually sponsoring like tier 2 tournaments now. These tier 2
Mhm.
tournaments, like I'm a little surprised it's not on the client, especially like right now when there's no MSI, no LCS. Like this week, it's a little that's I feel like that is a missed opportunity maybe.
Yeah, it is, but I think that's one of those things that falls back to um, maybe like a future
Mhm.
improvement
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
putting things on the client is obviously it takes developer time
Oh, for,
Yep.
and maybe the infrastructure for the amateur team at Riot for like communicating with the developers to get these things on the front page of the client,
Mhm.
maybe that's not quite set up yet.
yeah.
I mean, that's just me. That's just conjecture. I'm just throwing out a possibility. It's definitely not 100% the case, but that's probably, that's my guess.
All right, so like this season, right? Last split, last first season of Proving Grounds. To this split, we have three returning. Of course, we have Risen, Cub, and then we have Upsurge being the lone tier one. But we have that new organization, EGL. What do you think is gonna happen with that? Do you think they're gonna be successful, or do you think they're gonna stumble a little bit?
I can't say. Honestly, I think they're going to do fine.
They're pretty big, so
Yeah, I think they're going to do fine. But
it's actually Hex something. Hex,
Helix.
Helix,
Yeah.
yeah, Helix.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Not sure how they're gonna do. I'm pretty confident that they'll do just fine. Otherwise, Riot wouldn't have selected them. If Riot
I,
places their confidence in them, then I should as well. So
yeah, like so a big thing is like for these other proven ground tournaments, we've seen this like same casters, things like that. Do you think Helix will just bring in their own casters and things, or do you think they're gonna be like getting some casters that we never heard of that actually are just big pog?
certainly is a possibility. I will say I don't think there are casters out there that are better than the ones that we've got. I mean, there's a reason that everyone uses these casters for their events, and it's because these guys are good. Like,
I mean,
Best amateur talent
so,
out there.
so that's exactly you think that, right? But there's a reason why proven grounds exist as well, because people like in LCS thought, oh, okay, these are the best players. Our scouting is the best, but of course there were players that are just unknown, that were just insane, just 300 IQ type players. So there might be 300 IQ type casters out there just trying to get a break.
dude, that would be awesome. It really would
It
be.
would be
I'm
amazing.
I I mean, that being said, the casters that we have right now, I honestly really think that these guys are just insane. We have really good casters in the amateur scene.
It must be tough to be a caster though, because you could always just watch and there's always a lot of hate, like out of some random few people. It's like
It's the same with
it's
job though.
Yeah,
it's
it's the same with any public facing.
yeah, exactly.
I
I
mean, think
love
about
when
Academy.
people defend them though. That's probably the best part. Is like
Yeah.
especially if it's a solo cast. Remember like Academy Rush?
Oh my
It
gosh,
all
yes.
that was solo. Like
Yeah, you had the flipping between the different people solo casting.
yeah, I don't. Okay, so the idea of Academy Rush was, I think, they're trying to mimic like Red Zone, like NFL Red Zone and things like that, right? It's not like it's not fun because you don't get to see the game develop. Red Zone is fun because you get to see some of the major plays, but for League, you need to see the game develop and see why they're in this situation, things like that. But for Rush, you clearly turn on and you switch casters, and it's a solo cast, so it's not as entertaining because you don't have that conversation type uh like
Back and
casting,
forth. Yeah.
but you randomly see a team fight, and sometimes you just don't end the game. Like you don't know what happens at the end of the game. And you just keep doing this, and it's like it's not fun to watch.
Yeah, Academy Rush was certainly interesting. Interesting.
I didn't watch it.
Exactly.
I saw like one of them. I can't even remember the guy's name. He's one of the more popular amateur casters, and his
XD?
name eludes me. Dude, I'm trying to remember the face and the
That's
accent.
rough.
He has an accent as well. I can't remember anything. And
I don't know. I
I
just
don't want to
remember.
give a description of him because I don't want it to seem
I
rude.
remember I would watch sometimes if I see like Rafa or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't
Rafa,
Rafa.
Rafa, like XT or
Maybe
Destrux
it was
cast.
like XD. Short, skinny, brown hair,
That's not him.
with an
I love
accent.
Rafa so much.
Yeah, I know it's not Rafa. But yeah,
It's not XT.
I'm gonna go look it up and I'll figure it out like 2 days
Oh
from
wait.
now.
Oh, you're talking about TJ?
Yes, that's you. Okay. That name is. I'm pretty positive that's the name.
Yeah.
He was
He's a
casting
very lanky
Academy
fellow,
Rush.
honestly.
Yeah, yeah. I saw him casting Academy Rush solo. I felt bad for him. Did not look fun casting solo.
Man, we were on a tangent with this proving ground stuff.
True.
Yeah. You guys have any last things you wanted to talk about for Proving Ground stuff before we move
No,
on? Or...
now that we're out of time, yes, nice speaking to everybody today.
On the
Oh,
next
yeah, plenty
episode
of
of
time.
Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z.
All right, I'll take that as no more no more questions. Any
Probably.
more questions for Travis before we we kind of move on?
Do you see proving grounds becoming a place to actually like break even one day?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I think it does have a lot of merit to it, and I think you're gonna lose a lot of money right now because casting casters are now requiring a lot of money, of course, because they're getting better and better. Of course, their trade is they want to become full-time casters, and of course they want the compensation they deserve. And sometimes for these newer leagues, they get a lot of flack for having like inexperienced casters or things like that, and they're like, why can't you just get this caster, this caster? But the problem is those casters cost a lot of money. So
Yeah, I mean it's the same as any community. People or not community.
Gotta sink money.
People, there are people with more intimate knowledge than there are people that are very vocal that don't really have the knowledge required to make or to make the claims that they're making. That happens anywhere.
true.
Yeah.
And those are there's only a few of those people. It's a minority.
Yeah, certainly. Well, now that we have beaten the bush on proving grounds for quite a bit, uh, I find myself in this call surrounded by people from the Gren Reapers team. 3/5 of the Gren Reapers team from Risen Rampage pre-made over there. And you guys are about to have your finals, right? Because there's a bye week this week, so your finals are 6 days from now. How do you see these going, guys?
SSG wins 3-0.
Three
Hard
3-1
agree.
maybe.
3-1 maybe.
I hope they
Holy.
win 3-0, so we say we could be the second best team.
Yeah, realistically, after we had to play them last week, I think there's not really a question in my mind that they're one of the best teams in that league for sure. And if a group of scrubs like us can take a game off of them, I mean, I'm I'm hopeful that Omega can still put up a similar fight. But
Come on, man. You don't have faith in Eddie? He's not playing AD carry. You can't Tristana jump into their whole team and die.
I think there is there have been some changes that are going to help them topside for sure, but I think some of the players that are on the SSG squad, like Mowgli, Dallas, are just some of the better players in the league for sure in their positions. So
Why'd you
gonna
say
be.
Dallas? Why don't you say like Reedy?
I
or-
mean, I really didn't come to my mind. Like like when I think of SSG, I think of Mowgli and Dallas. Those are just the names that I associate it with.
or Winter.
They've been around
Like,
for the longest. Yeah.
Like I'll say what you want, man. When I think of SSG, I think of a platinum team in a gold league.
Oh no.
No.
I mean, it's
I-
whatever. Honestly, I think it was fun to play against them. I
I
think
mean,
a
it's
couple of
fine.
players,
It's just what I think. Like, I definitely think that's a team of players that is better than gold.
but there's a lot
So-
of teams like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So-
There's
Yeah.
a lot of teams with players like that.
There's teams that just gonna keep
so-
ranking up. Like that's what a big thing is. Like there's gonna be people out there that keeps on trying to improve, and they rank up, rank up, rank up, and then people get mad about it.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
that's gonna happen every season because there's always gonna be that top tier team. There's always gonna be that team at the top. There's always gonna be those players at the top. Because if they get removed, there's gonna be another player at the top. Things like that. It's just gonna keep happening until everyone would be at the same exact rank, the same exact LP, until somebody starts just that one flip of the switch. They just become instantly better.
Mhm. Like I remember in ZGG, there was a lot of outcry for the Literal Monkeys team that was 4 plat starting and then K when I believe they could have actually had 5 plat players in the gold finals.
They could because
So-
they had
Yep.
Toxin.
Yeah, they
Yep.
had Toxin at the time. So like there's always gonna be people complaining about the fact that there's people better than them in my eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously people just have to make the improvements and improve on themselves so that they can eventually be in that position at one point. So
It's one
Like
of
if
those
you're
things.
if you're going for just continuously playing in gold like for the last like 6 seasons, then there's something wrong. It's either you're not trying your rank to get better, or you're just playing the minimum. And while you're playing the minimum, you're not instantly getting better because you don't play that much.
mhm.
I think it's one of those things for me. Like as a competitor, like I really don't care who, especially now with the rank I am, I really don't care who I play against because it just makes me better. Like if I have to play against challenger players, like I just had to in UCL's quarterfinals, I had to play against Brown Mandarius and a mid two players that were 1K LP challenger at their peak that
Yeah.
were not
Except
challenger at the time of the upsurge game, and it's always fun. Like as a competitor, like you just see how they play and how they're on a different level from you, and it just makes you want to get to their level.
except when I was like a silver player,
Yeah.
that I played in like some people just asked me to play in this tournament. I was like, okay. In the first round, we were against like 3 challengers, a masters, and a like diamond 2 player, and they just styled on us with Annie ADC.
Yes,
So
well, there's a certain point where the rank disparity is a little much, but
I
like
think I
for
learned a
gold
lot that
players
game.
playing against platinums, right? Like it's certainly there's a lot to be learned. Same with like
It's one way,
plastic,
but that
silver,
time is one
diamonds.
way, right? So
Yeah.
if a platinum usually
Platinum won't learn as
the
much,
gold
yeah.
team will get a lot more than
Yes.
the platinum team. But the platinum team, of course, if they screw up early game, then they can,
Yeah.
like they know that they have some issues to fix.
Yeah.
But you know, if it's like a gold versus like a silver team, or not silver, bronze team, like literally like terrible team, um, the bronze team might not learn as much
Yeah, yeah.
because first of all, they're getting murdered, so they know what they're gonna come down to is like, oh, they're just better players, but they won't understand what kind of macro, what kind of like vision they needed to actually have a chance to win that game, what kind of just micro mechanic, like just mechanics just in general, like the foundations of like CSing things like that is just not there. Which is why whenever like I see like lower elo teams, things like that, the best thing to do is just to tell them to farm. Because when I was silver, when I was whatever, when I was like just starting out league, there's something that clicked and says, oh, if I miss this much CS, that's basically a kill. So my CSing got instantly better because I made sure I get the CS and I would start winning lanes just from that slight advantage I get from CSing and getting like the extra longsword or something like that.
Yeah, my point was more of just for like gold leagues, right? Like when people have the like with BOL, how we have the rank up clause where people can hit platinum,
Mhm.
right? Like it's to me it's a good learning experience as a gold team if you go against a plat team like my Mythos team that became trying for third. It was 5 golds versus 4 platinums, right? Like
Mhm.
just based off rank, it doesn't even you might discount it, but like there was
Mhm.
3-2 series that I mean we were up 10k gold
That you
and
should have won,
two
yeah.
of the games
Yeah.
we lost we were up 10k gold, right? And like part of that's just because they're not like gold players have their weaknesses and ours ends
Yeah.
up being closing out games. I'm pretty sure every
so-
game ever won was a or they won was a 40-minute game.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
So
that comes to my point. Like, for example, you see a lot more leagues pop up that are now like allowing 1P4, 2P4s, things like that.
Mhm.
The reason why we like stay as like gold cap to start the season is because we want people at like a decent even footing. It's not always gonna be like that, but like if we're allowed 1P4 or 2P4s, then they rank up. Where does it stop?
Yeah.
First of all, there's gonna be people elo sitting in P4 after that, right? Because it's very easy to elo sit in P4 because you get the border, which a lot of people care about, and they could just stay in P4 because they know they're not gonna hit diamond or something like that. But they could be a lot better than P4, and they won't never know that because they'll just play the minimum and play in a gold league basically.
for sure. Um, starting in or gold and letting them rank up to platinum also incentivizes improvement versus, like you said, started improved and then just letting yourself basically decay in terms of rank, but not level of play.
Yeah, a lot of our players actually ranked up this season to platinum, so
Yes,
it might be
a
Mhm.
couple.
we might be losing a lot of gold teams.
There's gonna be a lot of turnover
I would say
this
I
next
wouldn't
coming
say.
season.
Would you say most teams had a platinum player on them? I wouldn't say.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's most, but I know like
it's most because
most of
remember
our top
Wise
gold
like
teams have a platinum
352
player
or something
though.
like that. Wise was
I
playing for KFC, I believe. No, shrimp
Oh,
fried rice. Was it shrimp fried
yeah,
rice?
yeah,
He
no,
he ranked up to P3.
wow.
hmm.
Yeah, I know like
Wow.
Yeah.
almost every top team has at least one platinum on them.
I think
Mhm.
the only one that doesn't is currently Imperial. I don't think they have a plat
Yeah,
player currently.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
I
true.
agree, right? I don't think anyone in Imperius play. That's right.
Yeah, Imperial is like the only one. But
uh,
yeah, there's gonna be a lot of shakeups to see what happens next season. Whether we get a lot more people trying to play that we see in gold playing in platinum, we'll see. But you know,
mhm.
Travis, are you still with us?
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna
We
drop
went on
out
a
mid
tangent.
podcast, man.
He was just letting us run away with the conversation a little bit.
Oh,
Got him.
But before I move on to it's just, before I move on just to BOL Gold playoff stuff, I know none of us really know much about like the teams in Risen's Unstoppable or Dominate pre-made, but I want to shout out my friends because we love Joe over there on Oasis Buddies 3-0ing and winning an Unstoppable finals.
That was an
And
interesting time.
yeah, with
mhm.
the comp rolling into the 3-0 to win finals, and then you got Dominate. Everyone loves Solbert. He was so close to a championship, but that was a really good series.
Wait, their name
Um,
was We Love Joe. Was that what
no,
it was?
no, it was
No, it was
Oasis Buddies.
Oasis Buddies.
Oh, Ace
Oasis
Buddy. Yeah,
Buddies.
yeah,
Then
that's what.
the Solbert's team was called We Love Solbert, I believe.
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
um,
Silver keeps messaging me to allow him to play in a plat.
but he just almost won a Diamond League, man. I don't know.
Exactly.
But
Hey,
I
he
was
can
gonna
play in our
say,
Diamond League next time.
if you want a series to watch, that was a really good best of five. Um, between them and Orbital Academy, they win all 5 games. I was impressed truly with
Was
the
it
level
better
of
than the
play.
best of fives that we saw last Wednesday?
Yes, it was good, man.
For bangers,
I think
honestly.
it was like 5 hours long.
Which
Not
one?
not quite as
Ours was 6 hours.
yeah, as I say, not as quite as long as the 6 hour one, no, but this is 5 hours. Well, that's because you were streaming trying for third men, and we don't win or lose typically under 30 minutes ever.
Yeah, I felt
Every
bad
game
for
that's
Dia and
placed.
Fury on that one.
Yeah.
Dude, I kept watching their cams like after the back door and all that stuff. Like they just looked so tired. They were
But yeah,
so done, but
hmm
they were still keeping up their energy. But that the transitions perfectly kind of into some brief. We can touch briefly on BOL Gold playoffs. The rise of the 3 seeds, man. Truly, the rise
they
of
were
the
so
three
close.
seeds.
Yeah.
Three seeds almost went to semifinals.
hmm
There's one
And
game off.
how about to me the one series I didn't think. I mean, I thought Imperial had a chance for sure. Because like you've mentioned, we saw in the tournament we hosted 3 months ago now that Imperial almost beat this Obsidian team. and 3 months later they get their revenge and but 3-0 like. I mean, I get that Obsidian was probably way too cocky the first game, but man,
Oh, 100%.
getting yeah with that draft 100%, but getting 3
It's
0
yeah, a big thing that we saw though is that Imperial knew their weakness. A lot of the teams
yes.
didn't exploit it. And it's the fact that they always played for bot lane to get ahead.
Yep.
Always, always. And if it didn't happen, then the other lanes were struggling carry because JJH would play like control mages mid lane for like that supportive type DPS
Yep.
to help Snow Life just pop off. Top lane would play like
Anchor.
tanks, things like that. So if bot lane doesn't lose for Imperial, then you could have the other lanes snowball because Sybil
Yep.
plays a lot of like bruisers, things like that that could heavily punish top lane. And Mid Jones loves to just camp bot. And they just kept on playing that's very same strategy, same approach to every game.
Yes.
And this time Imperial put their foot down. After game one, they probably had momentum going on their side, and they kept on playing to out macro them.
Yep.
Kept on doing it, and eventually they 3-0'd them. And one of the people that saw was like, oh my god, they're like almost impossible to defeat. Were just swept in quarters.
Yeah, one of the big things I always thought with Obsidian was they always play like their bot lane's ahead. Like they can't even
Oh, yeah.
adapt in the game. Like if their bot lane is behind, they just keep on playing like their ADC can get a pentakill every team fight.
Yep.
And it's kind of crazy, like to me at least. Like I thought that this weakness would get exploited by like other teams that they had played before, like when they played Limitless or Collective in the regular season. And this team always, Obsidian at least always had managed to like squeak these wins. I wouldn't even call. I mean, I say squeak, but most of them are 2-0s. Uh, and they just always managed to win.
I
But
could have swore
it begs the
Snow
question.
Life hit Plat 3, but I guess he
Yes.
demoted back
I think
to
he did
P4.
demote. It begs the question though,
Mhm.
like how weak was this division? Because we saw the 2 seed Collective go down first round, and then, I mean, I guess Limitless put up a decent show with their new
Is
top
it
lane. But
how weak that division was or how
how
strong the
strong
North
the
was?
others? Yeah, I mean,
I
no,
think
that's
it's more
very
how
true.
strong the others were.
I do think the
Like,
North is incredibly strong.
like if Final Esports were in a different division, do we see him? Travis, I know you didn't keep up with BOL Gold at all. I don't know if you watched last week, because we're like the only stream on at that point because it was like 12 a.m. But
Nope. Sorry.
come on, man, you
Unfortunate.
could add one more
But,
viewer.
well,
We're that
like,
much
I mean, the
closer
North
to
was
get party.
strong, yes, but Nad still lost round one, right? To a 3
Mhm.
seed. So
But okay, so that CBR team, they went
CBR should not have
to
been a 3 seed in my
yeah.
eyes.
So that CBR team, that basically the Goon Squad team, they went to semifinals. Was it in ZGG?
yeah, no, I mean, I for sure agree.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I guess the North just, it's not that surprising to me to see like the CB Obsidian side and all that fall.
Mhm.
I think looking back, it's easier to say that, like just with the way they played the regular season, they kind of put themselves on a huge pedestal.
Yep.
But to me it was like I didn't view them like I viewed CB Rush. Like I mean I was the one that said
True.
CB Rush wasn't gonna drop a game in playoffs and they didn't.
Mhm.
That's just like I don't know, man. Rutledge does something with every team he's on where like if they're not the favorites, then I don't know. They're always the favorites. It seems like they always come in with this super stacked team, and they basically almost always only lose to one team. Like they're
Yeah,
always
100%.
winning or like top two.
Yeah, and we see the side of okay. So we saw Mentos Purple fall. We saw Twin Spirits fall the week before. Um, in this week we have VPU Argon, and they're going to be facing off against
Imperial.
Imperial, and then we have CBR, Cryptic Babies Rangers, and they're facing off against Energy Infinity. I think most people would take VPU Argon and CB Rangers, but do we have a chance for more upsets coming this week?
Dude, I hope Imperial win. I want Imperial to win very badly. Um,
I
I like the people on Imperial, so mostly like not as people. I don't know any of them as people, um, or as members of the community as much as maybe you guys do, but I really just they're unique to me. Like Azur, like he was playing Kindred mid before Kindred was broken, and he's been the Glacial augment, like somewhat of
Yeah.
a meme because Glacial died. Like we've been memeing it
They
throughout the
need to
split.
change up that rune just to get it something
True.
new.
So like I really want to see them win, especially like after beating Obsidian. Like the thing is if they come in with momentum, they can win. But if they come in like cocky, Argon's not exactly a team that you can just like. I don't
Yeah.
expect them to get 3-0'd. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
I wouldn't have expected Obsidian to, but Argon at least has a more diverse play style than Obsidian does.
yeah.
So it shouldn't
And
be
Argon
as
almost
easy to
lost
3
that
them.
last week, so
Yeah.
we saw that because of the hyper aggression from Altazi in the top lane, and he got punished over and over again, and just actually coin flipped the game. And he is a great player, but he's not. He didn't respect the jungle at all, and we saw him die multiple times ganks over and over again. And if that happens against like Imperial, then VBU Argon could lose easily.
I do think VBU versus Imperial is probably our game of the week with the highest upset potential. I think with how SG Infinity look against Trying for Third, I think it's tough to say that Rangers mm, will have much trouble with them. But
Yeah, we okay. The funniest thing is like last week on our talk, I basically said that Jacer like leads on like
The tank.
for like those tank junglers and things
He
like
said
that.
he didn't
And
in the
he
chat.
said he plays like Lilia, Jarvan,
They
Olaf
just
is
picked
like
up
his
Boo
best
Boo every
champions.
game.
He got absolutely smoked when he played Lilia, and then he kept on defaulting to Mumu. So
Mhm.
who
It was
got the
so funny.
last laugh?
Honestly, like it was a good series, but to me it was so funny that these guys were so insistent on first picking Anivia, and then he was down CS every game with no idea how to play his champion. And he has so many mastery points
He
on
played
Anivia.
well last game.
Yeah, the
The
he
last
last
played
game,
game
played
he
game
played
5.
super
well.
well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Game 4, like he played well, like after we hard through, but like he was
Mhm.
triple zeros at 25 minutes when my team's up 10k gold, and he was
Oh
still down
yeah.
in CS.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's more of your team just was
So
terrible at ending the
yeah,
game.
yeah, we didn't know. I don't know. As a team, I guess they just failed to be able to play against the
It's probably the
Anivia
shot calling.
to
Because
end.
wasn't Plunger off rolled?
No, no, she's a fill
Never
player.
mind.
There are players on that team that are like fill players that.
Did you say no? She's a fill
Yeah,
player.
no, no. I mean, AD carry and support are like the two roles she mainly plays.
Okay.
Like anywhere else would be much more off role.
I never
I want to
knew who
say,
was like the
but
main shot caller of that team, and
there
Billy told me it was like
really
Feathers,
there really
but
isn't one. Like it kind of
yeah, it's
fluctuated
kind of a
throughout the
problem.
season. Like our mid laner, like Cog Toilet, is super good, but like some of his shot calls early on in the season were a little too aggressive. And we were throwing games with it, so he kind of stopped talking as much. And then yeah, we kind of had like a hole for that role, which is basically why we every game is 40 minutes long and we never end. Is
Something
we
about
always had
Cloud
that
Toilet
hole.
is
But
like I feel like there's a lot of times where he gets his massive lead in like CSing, but like he can't transition it into the game, and
yeah,
like
I mean,
that's
I
probably
mean
his one big
that
downfall is like
comes
he's
with
not able to get
being
these flanks
gold.
off that he needs to.
Yeah, I mean that comes with being gold, right? Like because he, like you say, he gets huge CS leads. So if he was actually able to transition those leads properly every game, obviously he probably wouldn't be in gold. Um,
Exactly, and that's that one flip of the switch.
like I loved I loved coaching him and I loved his Cossadin, but like one of the big things with that champ for him is it seemed like I couldn't, as not being in the call when the game was going, it's hard to tell if it's a him thing or like a team thing, but we just didn't team fight properly with that champion
Oh yeah,
ever. Like we didn't, whether he didn't know how to play it or we didn't know as a team how to set it up. uh Even with me trying to kind of talk about how to do it with them, just like there's definitely some weaknesses there, but for me, NSG Infinity just I don't know, man. They're a team that I have a lot of questions about because I was kind of expecting them to either roll over and die or like destroy us, and neither one happened. Uh, so it's kind of I'm not sure where to place them, but I don't think they. I don't think they stand much of a chance against CB Rangers unless CB Rangers come out like they did against what team was it that 2-0'd them?
Gob Squad.
Gob Squad. Yeah, unless they come out like that with like some cockiness or something that just lets them get destroyed. So, because they were the most dominant one seed last week, right?
Oh,
They were
100%.
3-1 or 3. Oh, they 3-0'd, right?
Yeah, 3-yard.
Yeah. So they certainly look the most in form in playoffs right now.
Any team with feathers on it is a team that I vote for.
We love feathers, man.
We do love feathers.
Like, before we stop with BOL stuff, who's winning it all? If we had to guess right now.
I mean, the favorites are now heavily CB Rangers,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
but do you think CB Rangers actually go in cocky against NSG?
Against NSG, no. I think they take care of business against NSG in like 3-0 or 3-1 them.
I think it's more
but
the final time to worry about them going in cocky.
yeah, I think if they were like 3-0 Infinity, they're gonna come into the finals with a little bit of cockiness.
So, and so we did what 4 division of 6. There's a lot of people that wanted that probably wanted 4 teams from each division to go and have a 16-team tournament.
Doesn't really reward the one seeds as much though.
Yeah, it doesn't reward the 1 seed, and I don't think we get as close of games like these. Right?
Oh,
yeah,
I would agree.
I don't think we do either.
I mean, the only argument is the one seeds would be playing 4 seeds, right? So you'd still have the
Mhm.
3 seeds upsetting 2 seeds, but you'd have
Yeah,
potential
we'd still
for
have
4
that,
seeds to
but
beat 1 seeds. But like, then you also like, well, maybe Obsidian round 1, right? They come out, they
Mhm.
3-0, and then they just keep rolling. Like
Yeah.
they got their foot in the door and then they just roll. Like, it's hard to know how teams would have.
Yeah, a big thing about having that buy is how you use it.
Yes,
Like-
how you use the prep.
Yep, is if they either prep or if they just say, "Oh, this is an easy win," and they just don't play, they don't do anything. So eventually, I think we are gonna have a solid finals this season. Hopefully, we get a ton of viewers. Last week, what we combined for 130. Of course, there's a lot of overlap, so I'm gonna say we peaked at 97 on our main one, and we peaked at like 55 on our other one.
Yeah, it was
So-
it was good.
Hmm.
All right. Well, moving on, we can talk a little bit more about pro play. You know, Travis will get to rejoin us now that we're on a topic he
Hi,
probably
guys.
knows a little
You
bit
know,
more
maybe if
about.
he just paid attention to what's happening BOL.
But let's quickly for MSI. Any real shocks over the winners for you guys? For me, I think LPL is the best region in the world, so I'm not really
Oh,
surprised
100%.
to see them win.
There's a
But
reason
any
why
you
we have like
surprised?
proving grounds is because our talent is completely terrible at the top level, and we need to keep on forcing forcing players to not get comfortable where they are. So they like, okay, I'm an LCS, that's all I need to do. No, we need players that keep on striving to be better and better and better. And hopefully we will end up starting to compete with like LPL and things like that in the future.
Travis.
In terms of MSI, no, there wasn't really any surprise for me. Yeah, LPL, I think it's pretty well set that LPL is the strongest region, followed by closely by Korea, and then probably EU after that. This pecking order seems to be very established at this point. It's honestly, it's a little boring from a spectator's perspective because the results are just so predictable, right? Like the results for this MSI, literally, it was exactly what people predicted.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then there's of course, if you're an NA fan, you also
have the little hope.
like C9, the kings of being so close yet so far,
Yep.
where for some reason they can have competitive close games with the top teams in the world and then lose to wild cards or otherwise regions or teams that shouldn't lose to. It's frustrating from a North American fan's perspective.
100%.
Hmm.
You know, it's funny because EU, I don't even know like EU and A are like what the pecking order is. It's so hard for like EU is third just because NA hasn't done anything to say they're better, but like EU doesn't really look that good anymore either in these international competitions, in my opinion. So I mean, they look better than NA, but like I don't know, man. It's really weird because for me, the LPL, part of what makes them the best region in the world isn't just their top teams winning, but I feel like LPL, I don't know if you guys watched LPL, but they have like an insane top 6 to top 8 teams. Like the top 6 in LPL are crazy good, and I think any of the top 6 that came to this event would have won it. Um, so
It would be nice to have
okay,
like
I know,
maybe.
I know.
I know logistically this is impossible to
Okay.
set up, so this is just like a dream, but a larger event where you could have more
Where?
than 2 seeds
Yeah.
from each region,
I,
just so that you can actually compare the strength of the region overall instead of just the strength of the top teams.
like LPL like playoffs, man. That is something like if anyone wants good competition to go watch, just go watch the LPL playoffs. Like it's better quality than MSI was, in my opinion. And the bracket, I love how they do their bracket because if they didn't do a double elimination bracket the way they did, RNG wouldn't have even been the team to represent an MSI because they got 3-0'd the first round they played.
Oh
Um,
well.
so yeah, and then they ran the gauntlet down there. So, I mean, it would have been FPX if there was no losers round. But it's crazy how the competition is there. And then for me, like LCK is actually not that good. Like I think the top LCK teams are good, like top 2 maybe, top 3. But like, there's a lot of middle of the pack teams in LCK that leave a lot of questions.
Hmm.
Uh, like like Chovy, Chovy is on a team where like they are only good because Chovy's on the team, and if they took Chovy off that team would be like not even winning a series in my opinion. So pro play is in
Rem-
a very interesting state.
Remind me, we with this MSI passing, we are now going to see 4
For
LPL
LCK,
and 4 LCK
yes,
teams, correct?
in worlds, yes, it's I
Yeah.
think for both it's I don't is LPL the fourth seed automatically in groups as well, or are they in play-in? Right, the fourth seed for both of those is in
I'm
play-ins.
mm,
I don't remember
I'm
how it
not
was
sure.
last year. I know fourth seed from LEC was in play-ins. Was fourth seed from LPL also in play-ins last year? Oh, yes, they were. It
I
was
remember.
LGD. Yes, they were
Yeah,
in play-ins.
it
Okay.
was LGD.
So
Yeah.
both four
Okay.
seeds are in play-ins. But yeah, they have 3 seeds in the group, which just makes it even more hard for NA.
Hmm.
Is I think especially for like LCK, like the top 3 are going to be really good. I won't know about the fourth for LCK yet. They're kind of a region that gets stuck in their ways. Uh,
Hmm.
but the LPL, man, it's scary here for LPL. Like, you get the fourth seed from LPL as a 1 seed in an NA in your group. it, to me, it looks a little doomed. So,
Hmm.
uh, I was
Do you
gonna.
think there's going to be a point where we reach a time where, say, like NA or EU teams start getting slots removed potentially? I know that they've
Uh,
been adding more slots, but I feel like it's
I
going to
don't
be
know, man.
bad for viewership
I
if
think
they do.
you could argue yes, but like what region would get the slots, right? Because there's not many regions that look better than like NA.
Antarctica.
They like
What is the
maybe
PSG region?
PSG's
I'm
region.
blanking. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm blanking on it right now.
they were from they're not VCS. They're the LMS's rebranded league, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, what is
I got it. Hang on.
okay.
But yeah, the it gets to a point like you could maybe argue that region gets it, right? But like
Hmm.
I it's so weird. Every year, NA fans especially will say it that like this is the year, but like NA is to me getting closer. Yeah, I mean, like we beat RNG. We had like so many competitive games against Damwon. Um, like we probably could have 4-0'd Damwon. Seems like almost all those games we were kind of just throwing, as a region. So it's NA is close, and there are like Team Liquid is arguably equal level with Cloud9, and then TSM is I don't know. I don't think TSM is that good. So like maybe the top two teams from NA are close to it. But it's the PCS is where
PCS. Okay.
yeah. And I don't know enough about like the top teams in the PCS.
Mm-hmm.
Is like I know that PSG Talon beat Beyond Gaming in the finals, right? And if you didn't know, maybe you didn't hear that the AD carry they were using was actually Beyond Gaming's AD carry because their ADC
Mm-hmm.
Unified couldn't show up, and I guess that does say a lot because um Doggo or Unified PSG's normal AD carry was I believe like the highest damage share, like he's like their Giga carry
Mm-hmm.
over in the PCS, and then they were using Doggo and they're still winning even without their
He
normal
also
Giga
had
carry.
a.
So,
They also had a coach fill
but
in at support, I believe, right? That
uh,
was
their
PSG.
PSG's talent had Kaiwing in support normally, so I'm pretty sure that's who's playing. Yeah, that was
Okay.
who's playing. So no,
Okay.
so I can tell you, looking at the PCS right now, PSG 3-0'd every single team they played in the playoffs. They 3-0'd
Mm-hmm.
JT, then they 3-0'd Beyond twice because they have a double Elam bracket, so they beat the second best team 3-0 twice in playoffs. So I don't
That's
know.
probably fair then. Yeah.
I don't know, how close the region is with these top teams. But yeah, I mean, I'm you can start making an argument, like especially after this Worlds. If this Worlds goes really bad for like NA, especially, then I'm sure that might actually happen. Because NA has just not performed at Worlds pretty much ever. I mean, I guess you can count Cloud9 when they beat, Afrika, but haven't really performed at Worlds too much.
Outside of that, it's just not been much at all.
Feel like things are going well in the immediate future for NA. Things are going to get a bit worse before they get better. That's because NA is currently in this mode of let's find new talent,
Yep.
and the new talent is going to be inexperienced and, quite frankly, not as good as what is in the LCS right now. But what's important is the ceiling, and that ceiling is going to go up in the case of 2, 3, 4 years from now.
Yep.
So I think in the immediate future, NA probably gets a bit worse. But then if you look a little bit further out, NA is going to be much, much better than it is at the moment. And I think that that'll be reflected uh, on the international stage when we get to that time period.
Yeah, I think that's a great place we can kind of transition into LCS. Because you're talking about that. Was it you earlier when we were like before we were broadcasting? EG they have replaced Deftly with Shiro, who's now
Mm.
Danny. Was it you that were saying you think they're gonna be the best ADC in the LCS?
Yeah, Shiro best ADC in the LCS. You heard it here first.
uh,
Shiro's absolutely mechanically
insane.
just
Yeah, I've
yeah.
had the honor of having him as my AD carry a couple times in solo queue. Dude is out of this world bonker. I mean, I've had Sir T on my team as well. He came from the same team as Shiro,
Mhm.
It's What EG Prodigies. I mean, he's coin flip, but holy moly, like he was playing Akali before Akali got those buffs, and gosh, he is scary mechanically at this game. Um,
Yeah.
but what do you guys think of all the roster changes that have been happening? So we got, Kingen for Sven, which, I mean, Sven's probably the best ADC in NA, so I don't think we can say performance was the reason that one. We also have Golden Guardians have picked up Chime as their support. My boy Chime getting his first starting job on a LCS team, as well as their using solo in the top lane now. And then we have FlyQuest has Dreams joining Diamond in that support role in the starting roster. So I guess we'll have to see, who they go with there. And then we have Abadage for 100 Thieves, interestingly enough, as one of the first moves we kind of saw. It's probably been, a month since that one came out.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about some of these moves?
I want to know the whole King Sven situation. I mean, I know this is probably like
Yeah.
let's get into the drama behind the scenes stuff. But you're right. There's no way that is a performance issue
Has
because
to
Sven
be
is
some attitude.
easily the best.
Or maybe it's an attitude thing. Maybe like C9 is trying to get money for King. Like they think King is also insane. Like I do think King is good. So maybe they're trying to
Mhm.
like show that look, we have this other guy on the bench too who's also one of the best ADCs in NA. Come pay us for him. Right? Like I mean they did just Tens did just win, Masters League. Maybe they're in the business of trying to make some money right now by selling off some of their players. Like maybe Sven's attitude has been really poor, like because he has Perks and Mithy, so close as head coach in mid lane. Like maybe they're starting to feel like he's getting complacent with like
When are they
his
gonna
people.
sign me? I'm ready to play.
Can you
So-
right click well?
Yeah. What about all these like players that's just like switching to jungle?
Isn't it Whippo
That's
just going to
you.
jungle?
It's
Yeah.
Whippo, and then I think
Treats.
Treats is
Yeah.
also swapping.
Yeah.
The jangle
Definitely,
meta.
it's definitely interesting after the jungle changes.
Come on, man. Morgana was meta in the jungle. Support's time to
Yep.
shine. God.
Dude,
So
you know what
bad.
they're gonna do? They're just gonna keep buffing champions. Like, I think this should be a champion that should be playing in the jungle. Let's just buff him to do more damage to monsters.
That's true. Nautilus got
Dude,
that buff. That's also
yeah,
buff
they,
one.
they're just
It's
gonna
just
keep
gonna
on
be
doing
flavor
that.
of the month. Yeah.
They're just gonna keep doing that because if they buff anything else, they're gonna be better in a different lane. That's 100% how it goes every time. So they just need to buff the damage to monsters to make them junglers.
Yep. Man. Do you guys know anything about Chime joining Golden Guardians? Have you seen that player in I believe
I've
he did play in
seen
Proving
Chime.
Grounds. I know he was
He,
on an
pl-
academy team.
yeah, I think he played in Proving Ground like this last Proving Grounds for like Golden Gardens Academy. Obviously, I believe it was Cup that they were playing in.
He's been
I
around a
don't
while.
have, yeah, I don't have the most experience watching
Yeah.
Tim. I think most of that came from when he was in Scouting Grounds during the time. But I think it's definitely an interesting move. Remind me, who was their support beforehand for Golden Guardians? It was
Oh man.
uh
Newbie.
Newbie. Yeah, he came over from, was he OCE or was he EU? I
No,
can't
no, no.
remember.
Newbie was Latin America. He was the Latin
Oh,
America
Latin America.
Prodigy
Okay.
support.
Okay.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well for them, unfortunately.
So that's, yeah, I think it's good to see Chime get a chance.
Yeah, I know Chime was on. He's been on the Golden Guardians Academy team for like a full year,
Mhm.
and I know from watching him throughout like from UPL and stuff. Like he was on Supernova and he looked really good then. I believe he was also on Dramatic, uh, Dramatic Royal way back like almost 3 years ago now. Um,
Wow.
and so when Scouting Grounds was a thing, I know he got drafted by a team in Scouting Grounds like
Mhm.
2019. I don't remember what team it was. But he never really like got a chance, and yeah, he's been sitting in the academy for like a year. So I'm curious to see if like how good he is because a part of this move to me is just like Newbie did not look very good. It's like they just wanted to get rid of him, and Chime is obviously already on the academy team, so they don't really have to spend any money to replace their support. So I'm curious how good he's actually going to be. Uh, and then Niles is gone from Golden Guardians for solo, and I mean I thought solo should have a starting spot on a team. I feel like Niles was like the potential for NA tops, and he just kind of fell flat on his face.
I'm gonna
So,
be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of Solo. Keep continually wiggling his way back into a starting spot. I feel like
Yeah.
it's nice that they're giving like NA talents a chance, but like Solo just coming in and out consistently is
Yeah.
yeah, rather than a new face.
Jake, how much do you think that a player's brand or like their marketability has to do with them getting a spot? Like, do you think that
I think there's
Niles?
some teams have potential with that. What about Niles? Sorry.
So Niles obviously got a lot of criticism from the community overall for his performance. Do you think that criticism affected his brand, which then affected his uh, ability to retain that starting spot, or do you think it was purely performance based and that they're not willing to give him another chance?
I think it's definitely both, but I think the brand definitely impacted it because I think like Golden Guardians wanted to take a chance on NA talent, and then it backfired, and there's a lot of backlash with Niles, and then Solo is kind of like the known quantity of like NA top lane talent. Like you know what you're getting with Solo, um, and
Is that a good thing?
maybe not, but it seems better than Niles probably to them. Obviously, if they made the move. Um, so I hope Niles gets another shot. I feel like I mean it feels really unfair because I feel like the team he also had around him was also like pretty bad. So obviously they were the worst team in the LCS in the spring season. So I kind of want to see him get another shot when he's actually surrounded with players that are either more um, or more veteran in status, so they can help him out with some of those newer things that he's learning, or like just mechanically like prodigies. Because to me he was surrounded with like newbie and deftly or not deftly ah my brain, I'm gonna find it. Ooh,
I think there's like
Stixay.
It was
Newbie and
Nubia Blaze
Stixay.
Olive,
He had Iconic
6A,
and
yeah.
Newbie on his team, which were like two imports that are new to the region, who's untested, and then you had a Blaze Olive who's brand new to competitive, just like or to LCS basically, just like Niles was, and then you have Stixay. So like to me, Niles wasn't given much of a chance. I mean, obviously a
yeah.
lot of his mistakes that we saw, like not all of his mistakes, but I would say he did make a lot of mistakes that were like all on him. Like you can't blame his team for some of his deaths and some of his bad TPs and wave management, but like it certainly doesn't help surrounded by like I think most of us would agree Stixay's kind of fallen off a cliff in terms of how good he is. And then three other newer players. I don't know like how well they spoke English. I'm sure they spoke it somewhat well, but like newbie. If you're lazy in Latin America, doesn't mean you have good or bad English, right? It just means it's not their primary language, I believe. Gosh, sometimes my geography.
Uh, I also think that there's like a golden ratio to have of veterans to
Two players.
complete new talent on the scene. Like you probably want to have like three good veterans and then two
You just
new guys.
you just gave me the perfect like for me. So I love Call of Duty. I played amateur Call of Duty. I don't know if any of you follow Call of Duty, but the person there's been one person that's won the championship at the end of the year for the last 2 years, Clayster. And at the end of after he won 2 years ago, he got kicked from his team. And what did he do? He went out. He found one veteran, two insane rookies. Well, two veterans and two insane rookies because they went to five instead of four people on a team. And he went out and won the championship again. And then he got kicked from his team because the league shrunk from five back to four. So he went out, he got kicked from his team again, and this season he's built another roster of one veteran, two insane rookies, and he's once again like popping off, because he's a leader. So he surrounds himself with one other veteran talent, and then he gets these two rookies that he can mold, and he just takes off. And I do agree, there's a really good ratio because you don't want to have like three rookies or be surrounded with
Mm.
four rookies as like the one veteran because you don't want the pressure of fixing everything and having to tell every single person what to do. You certainly need other pieces around you, but having like insane rookie talent, especially uh, when like with Shiro, who is gonna be, I do think he's gonna be insane. We'll have to see how he like transitions to this stage, but like I'd rather have Shiro than Stixay or Wild Turtle in my opinion because they're nearing the end of their career and I feel like they're kind of a known quantity. Like the ceiling is already hit, so
Hmm.
I would rather take a chance. But you
And
can't just take a chance on 5 people at the same time.
When I hear Stixay, I think of like these like random pop off moments. Like there were, man, I can remember. I think it was like season 5 where
I think of
Stixay.
that pentakill that was not even in Elite or not even on LCS. If you know what I'm talking.
Oh yeah, with Afromu
Yeah, with
when
the
he was playing
Ezreal.
Ezreal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
of was
That was
Stixay.
sick. I think of these random pop off moments, and I just haven't seen that from Stixay like literally in years, and it's kind of a letdown. I think he's definitely fallen off.
It's scary though because like that Ezreal pop off penta, right? Like I see a lot of that in Shiro. I see more of it. I mean, to me he's had way more pop off moments than Stixay ever had. But I'm hoping he doesn't end up falling off a cliff after a year. I really hope that Shiro like becomes like I would be okay if he was like Gala. Like I think Gala's really insane, but he's also really just dumb with his aggression. Like he just ints sometimes. But I would be okay if he's like that because as long as he's insane, like I would rather have the wild turtle moments of flashing into a base and dying than an AD carry that just sits back and does nothing the entire game and watches it burn. So, here's hoping Shiro does some stuff. Big expectations.
It's de- it's definitely promising seeing that EG's willing to take the chance because he's just skipping straight from
Prod-
academy.
Yep.
He's like, yeah,
Skipping academy.
entire. So it's good to see that they have high hopes for him. Just hope that it's not like something where
Too
he
big of a jump.
doesn't live up to expectations and he's just gone.
This is
Yeah.
becoming a long podcast. Holy
True.
crap.
It's still shorter than the last one right now. Still shorter than the last one.
Punk.
But we're nearing the end.
Yep.
um, any any last things we want to talk about for LCS? Before I do want to touch on the patch a tiny bit because I'm happy Morgana Jungle's dead. So
Yeah. They stopped this Frostfire nurse for range champions was 100% directed at Senna. And they buffed
True.
Oh, yes.
Senna's other things, so.
yeah, no, but the new patch. So we got Death of Morgana Jungle. Finally some Shaco nerfs. I say finally because Hyula Shaco was the highest win rate jungler in the game. I don't know about for other ranks, but that champion is cancer to play against right now, and
Yeah, there's a reason why he's an S plus tier, basically.
yeah, so it's very so glad some Shaco nerfs came
Wait,
in.
Shaco? I hate Shaco. I hate that champion.
I agree.
Seraphine buffs,
Seraphine
along
buffs,
with
yeah.
items.
Azir buffs. I think Azir buffs is actually
Azir
one of the
buffs, yeah.
big
Along-
things that because when he got nerfed in patch like 11.5, he basically because he was becoming like pro play like meta like 100% pick or ban type crap, right? And they nerfed him, but now they're buffing him, so they want him to make a comeback. Because I think it's more of like the Oriana type things, like back in like season 3, 4, 5, where they always buffed her right before Worlds because Oriana is just the type of champion that just makes like team fights like interesting. So
Oh, for sure.
Azir is definitely in that same concept. So I think they want Azir to become back in pro play and still, the Riot always has their like directions how what champions they want in pro play,
Yep.
and that's exactly what happens.
And then of course, AP Senna buffs, man. I mean, technically yes, they did buff the lethality healing part. I'm sure. I don't know if you guys have seen the more lethality Senna builds. They're there, but adding these increases to AP ratios on the E and the R is, I think it's pretty funny.
I did the
I'm
math
okay
on
with
some
it,
of this, by the way.
but
The Senate changes.
oh, okay, hit us with it. Math.
For the Q healing with lethality really doesn't add that much healing.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's only
Yeah,
160%.
it's like 20 extra healing per Q. If you have one lethality item. The E with the AP buffs though, you can get people easily up to like 650 to 700.
Oh my god.
So
Oh.
Moonstone Senna might, especially dude, the Moonstone buffs this patch. I think they buffed.
Dude, they
They buffed
always think
staff too, right? So
they always think that
Yeah.
there's like, oh my god, this is so cancerous to the game. We must remove it. We must nerf it. And then they're like, maybe it was
Maybe
fine.
not.
And they'll spring it back. Oh no, they're gonna and like
Send a
3 patches
Seraphine,
from now,
dude.
they're gonna do the same thing. Like, oh, this is too
I hope
cancerous.
you're ready for Send a Seraphine double Moonstone bot lane.
Oh my god,
Oh no.
the heals.
Yeah, man. Teemo buff.
What about like yeah, what about like the Warmog changes? Like I know
Oh,
that
those are
like
that's
I
so
think
good.
it was yeah, I think it was like the first few days of the patch I was only seeing people like Frostfire into Warmog still.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
definitely
Definitely on
Um,
Sejuani, it's so good.
yeah.
yes, it's a huge change. It makes champs like Sedge a lot better. It's actually one of those changes, like a support can actually second item Warmogs. If
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
lock it into Warmogs, you have enough HP. Like, okay, Soraka, for instance, she can go Shurelya's into Warmogs or Moonstone into Warmogs and get the HP regen from it, which is it's kind of crazy. Like a Moonstone Warmogs 2 item Soraka that already has it. It just doesn't seem the most fun to have to play against.
I don't like the words you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't seem the most fun to play against. I'm okay with it for now because it's a change in the meta. Like I think we can see certain champions come out like Sedge come out of the woodworks just because of it. But yeah, Bramble nerfs though. Finally,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
now
reflection
freaking
damage doesn't
now,
scale,
just
right?
watch Ninja
N-
Tappy now instead.
now Freak could just live happily ever after.
Yeah, true, true. Oh man. All right. Any other things you guys want to talk about in the patch?
Pretty much.
I'm so happy Morgana jungle's dead, man. I really am. I hate that champion, man. I really do.
From now on, I'm just gonna scour the patch notes and look for Morgana buffs. If I ever see Morgana buff, I'm just gonna screenshot it and like send it to you.
I mean like I don't think it's like it's not like fully dead, but it's pretty much gone. Uh, so
I think we lost Billy. His
Yep,
Discord
his
died.
Discord died.
it's okay, you know.
I mean, it's a good time to stop then.
We're done with the episode anyways. Thank you everyone for listening once again. Thank you Travis for joining us this evening. And that's all from us. Have a good one. See you guys next episode.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.